So for those who might not be familiar with who you are yet, tell us, who might you be?
Obviously, I'm obviously an athlete. I play football. I started playing football 2018. And I go to All Saints Catholic High School in Canada, and I'm a very good student. I'm also from South Sudan. Obviously I wasn't born there, but my parents migrated from South Sudan to Canada in around 2001. So I'm a proud Canadian, but I'm also a proud South Sudanese.
So at what point did you decide to take football more seriously and take it to the next level? Like, what was that moment for you?
So the moment for me was kind of when COVID came around. At that point, obviously it was whether that's the point where many people either gave up on football or kind of took it more serious. So that's when around that time I met Coach Vic, and I started coming to Gridiron Academy around 2 years ago. And just meeting with Coach and just seeing how he trains and all the different guys that made it to that level, it just made me push harder. And I knew it was something I wanted to do, and I knew obviously I've always had the potential, but it just knows like there's no success without putting that hard work and the effort. So come to Gridiron Academy and also talking to Coach, and it made me want to push to that because I knew that at the end of the day you only have one chance to get to this level, and once you're past that age, there's really nothing you can do.
So 2020 you started taking football more seriously, got in touch with Coach Vic with Gridiron Academy, but regionally, provincially, nationally, globally, things were shut down due to the COVID pandemic. How did you stay motivated? How did you stay hungry during this period of time, knowing, like you said, you were at that age, the clock was ticking, and you only had a certain amount of time? So how did you stay motivated and focused during this period?
Yeah, it was also one thing just being staying in shape. So obviously I was always a bigger kid. So at the time, we were sitting at home all the time, and just putting on weight. And that was the time where but I got in contact with a couple of my friends, and we started training outside, and they actually got me into connection with. And I was also looking to go into prep school in the States. So the coach put me in contact with Coach Vic, and obviously I knew that was a goal that I was willing to reach, to go to prep school in the States and prove myself there. The States is a different playground. Like we all know that. There's talented kids everywhere, no matter the age. So I knew that the only way I was going to go to the States and perform at different prep schools or whatever was to actually take this thing serious. And COVID was obviously it was a global thing, but there's no excuses, whatever it is, so you gotta push forward. So that was a big reason I was pushing me towards actually becoming successful. I've always been into athletics, so I played basketball when I was younger. My older brother was actually, I used to follow him around because he played high-level basketball as well. He didn't go to university with it, but he would travel around and play basketball. But my other brother actually started playing a year before. So obviously seeing him put on the pads and him going out and him with his friends, I used to watch his games. I've always been a bigger kid, but I've never been the best. I've never been the fastest. I've never been the strongest on any team I was on. It made more sense to go play football, and ever since then, at first it was you get put on the O-line. It's not really a normal position to play. Even the way you kick step, it's not human nature. So at first it was pretty awkward, but eventually I started falling in love with it, and it led me to get to this point here.
It may not be as glamorous as being a receiver, but correct me if I'm wrong, the offensive line, without them, there's no touchdowns, there's no first downs, there's literally no movement of the ball.
Yeah, we're the engine of the team. So if you look at any successful team, there's been a successful either O-line or D-line. So we're the engine. So if we're all working together, we're all blocking for the quarterback or making holes for the running back, there's nothing that can stop you, and it's just something that I fell in love with, because it's such a powerful position. The fact that once 5 people come together and they create a sort of wall to protect the quarterback, it's just something special.
So in Ottawa's South Sudanese community, we have an athlete who is in the NBA by the name of Mariel Shayok, but we do not have any South Sudanese people in the NFL or who play football at that super high level yet from Ottawa. So how does that feel to be representing South Sudan, representing Ottawa, Canada, and being able to make that next step to making it to the next level?
Obviously, it feels good. We have one South Sudanese in obviously in the NFL, but we're mostly known for basketball. So we have many players like Bol, Mayor Shayok, as you mentioned. So it feels good to also be not only one of the only Sudanese from Canada to make it to this level. At this point now, I know that it's bigger than just me. It's more than just my family. Now I'm representing obviously my name, Gridiron Academy, but I'm also representing my country, and I've got the flag on my back wherever I go. So it feels good.
It's honestly, it's an honor to be able to speak to an incredible young man like yourself, who's from right here in the Ottawa community and from back home where I am from. You know what I mean? East Africa, from South Sudan, or from Uganda. Who'd you like to give a shout out to? Who'd you like to, have in this moment too? Who'd you like to give a thanks to?
Yeah, so first and foremost, you gotta thank God, of course. This is something I dreamed about for a very long time, and I want to thank my brothers, of course. These are guys who I've been with, and they've seen me from my very lowest to my very highest to this point here. So, and they were the ones that were really pushing me, and there was never a point where I felt unmotivated. And even if I did feel that way, they were there to push me forward. So I want to thank them. I want to thank my parents, of course, for raising me to this point where I can finally move forward and I can finally stand on my own 2 feet and obviously pursue my dream. Shout out obviously my Gridiron family, Coach Vic, Sean Maine. These are people who were behind the scenes helping and pushing me, getting me right physically for my body when it comes to a football standpoint. I want to thank my Gridiron brothers, the guys who I train with, the guys who push me to get stronger and get better each day. Also, I want to thank just my friends at school and everything. These are the guys who I've been with for a very long time. I want to thank all those people, and it feels great.
Uber, thank you so much for this time. It's an honor again to meet you, and best of luck with all your journeys, my friend.
I had a chip on my shoulder for a minute, so I came this year, I did my thing, and I was able to pick up a couple offers in the last 2 months, and now I just want to thank myself, all those bus rides, our 30-minute bus rides, all those, 4 times a week, my guy in the Gala, Chris, E-Man on the bus. This is something we dreamed about. This is something we always used to talk about on the bus. I knew I was a Division I player before I even got the offers. It's something I've been telling myself for a very long time, and it came with sacrifices, financially, mentally, physically. So this is a lot. So with all that being said, I obviously like to commit to the University of Massachusetts.